What is a codependent relationship and how do you know if you're in one? Well, codependency is often thought of as being clingy or needy in a relationship. And while that is part of it, it's a lot more than that. It's a pattern where one partner, the codependent, has an unhealthy need to be needed, and the other partner, or the enabler, exploits this need by relying on their partner too much. This dysfunctional relationship pattern is common not only in our romantic relationships, but also between parents and children, between family members, coworkers, and friends. Let me know if you have been raised by codependent family or if you've been in a codependent relationship. We often unconsciously continue these codependent behaviors until we get the right kind of support to be able to create the healthier relationships that we want, where both partners respect and honor each other's needs. Nobody feels needy for expressing a need or honoring a need because needs are needs. They are important. We learn codependent behaviors in our family of origin. It's especially common in a family where one or both parents is alcoholic or drug addicted, if one parent is mentally ill or unstable or physically sick. In my family, there was mental illness, and there was a lot of dependency on the children to be the adults, which is why I became a good coach, because I was already used to having to rely on myself, having to give advice to my family. That wasn't a healthy place for me to be in then, but I became a healthier version of myself with the proper support. So we adapt to our families because we need to survive, we want to be accepted, and we want to feel loved. The good news is that since codependency is a learned behavior, with the right support, we can unlearn it and have the healthy, loving, interdependent relationships that we want. So if we want to heal from codependency, we have to first recognize the signs. There are many signs, but I'm going to share 5 of the top warning signs that you're in a codependent relationship. Number 1, little or no interests outside the relationship. When you're codependent, you often are consumed by the relationship. All your free time is spent thinking about the other person, dropping everything for the other person. You don't attend to your hobbies, your interests, even your friends, because you're there just trying to be there for the other person. It's a way of like losing yourself in support of this person that you put on a pedestal. Number 2, it's a person who stays in the relationship in spite of verbal or physical abuse. When you stay, even though they're belittling you, even though they're not treating you well, and it doesn't have to be severe, it could just be someone who doesn't want to talk things out with you. That's not a healthy relationship. Those are not interdependent relationships because only one person's needs matter and the other ones don't. Number 3, it's a person who sacrifices their needs to make their partner happy. So we talked about that a little in the interests area where you have little or no interests. Now I'm talking about needs. Needs like eating, sleeping, like basic core needs that we need to attend to. And let's say you're exhausted, but your partner wants to go out and you go, sure, even though you know you're really tired. Or you don't eat the food you like. I had a client once who was about to pass out because she has hypoglycemia. And she was with her partner and she said, I need to get food. And he totally ignored her needs. She was so codependent, she didn't know how to meet her own needs at the time and just walk away and just go get the food she needed. She stayed with him and almost got sick. So that's an extreme case, but often it takes something like that for us to wake up to the reality that we're stuck in a relationship that's codependent. Number 4 is a fear of speaking up. So many of the things that I've shared already are about where somebody else's needs are more important than yours. How do you have anything but fear of speaking up when somebody doesn't really care about your needs? So if you're going to speak up and the person isn't going to hear you or is going to make fun of you or is going to walk away in the middle of an argument, you start to shut down. And so codependent people are often very afraid of conflict and afraid to speak up and speak their truth. And number five is a person who is anxious in the relationship most of the time. You're walking on eggshells. You're always afraid of the shoe is going to drop. And this goes back to speaking up again. If I speak up, will they listen? Will they leave me? Right? So you're afraid all the time that you have to be perfect. You have to do the right things. If you see any of these signs of codependency within yourself or your relationship, that's great because you're noticing this first important step, which is to understand the signs, and that's how you begin to rewire dysfunctional patterns. Continue to learn more about the consequences of remaining in an unhealthy dynamic, such as losing your identity and living with constant anxiety and stress. Healthy love is about creating partnerships that are interdependent. They are characterized by mutual respect, mutual trust, mutual honesty. Recovery from codependency is possible through emotional healing and redefining the way you value yourself and communicate your needs and wants. These are things that I do in coaching. It's usually things that people work on in therapy. If the codependency is not so acute, I'm able to help clients to begin to recognize their needs and their wants and be able to own it, own their value, become the woman of value that they already are by speaking up, by recognizing red flags early on, like codependent behavior. So, if you have any of these signs, please leave a comment. And if you would like to schedule a session with me to talk about how I can help you with any of these unhealthy behaviors, I would love to talk. Just go to lastfirstdate.com/breakthrough and we'll get on a session and discuss what your particular coaching needs are, because I would love to help you go on your last first date.